Hello, my veggie foodies. Welcome back to episode 6 of reviewing It's CompliPlated, which is Tabitha Brown's show on Food Network. So today is episode 6, and this episode's theme is it's game time. So the theme around this one is basically creating game day food. So the things that you would typically think about either, make it when you're watching a game at your house, or that you would get like going to a game, a ballpark, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was excited about this theme because I really like party type food. I wouldn't necessarily say game day food because I don't really actively watch the games, but like party type food, that's always been like one of my favorites. So I was excited to see what we were going to get in this episode. So we'll kick off with the first judge. They were getting ready. They are getting ready for their wedding, or were, depending on when this was filmed.
Yeah.
And so for her diet choices that she was focusing on was no fried foods and no bread, and then of course it had to be plant-based. I probably should have been a little more strict leading up to my wedding so that I could make sure I still could get in my dress properly. But anyway.
She looked great. We'll pop pictures in there. She looked great.
No, we're not. No.
Come on.
First contestant was Darren Goldstein. He made jalapeno poppers with like an avocado ranch, which his looked very good. Of course, he couldn't fry it, so he baked his in the oven. And instead of like coating it and like breading, he just did like the fresh jalapenos, and then he put like some cream cheese and I feel like some other vegan cheeses. I can't remember everything that he put in there. And like I said, he made a fresh avocado ranch, which his looked very good. He's got a best presentation for me.
That was my pick for wanting to try the most because it's been a while since I've had some jalapeno popper, especially in this type of way when it's not fried. So I think that was more so if I had to pick something that I really wanted to try out all of them, it was a jalapeno popper.
Okay. He's got best presentation for me. And he actually tied, I think, for the one I would want to try because it was kind of like two that I really wanted to try. But his definitely got best presentation for me. So next up is Justine Whitney. She did a crispy jackfruit lettuce wrap. And she's who I put kind of like tied for what I would really want to try because I really love a good lettuce wrap. And the judges were saying how wonderful like her flavors were. And for that reason, I was like, ooh, I want to get my hands on that because I love lettuce wraps. I love lettuce wraps.
Yeah, like the lettuce wrap looked good, but I guess like game day, I'm not thinking about a lettuce wrap.
That's true.
And
so that is something the judges had to say was, we weren't necessarily thinking game day, but flavor-wise, it was there.
Yeah, it looked really good. Mm-hmm. Really good.
So I guess I put best presentation for Darren, and then I put tie for top that I would want to taste. But if we were going on, I guess, ballpark, I probably would have picked, or game day, I would have probably picked Darren. But on ones I wanted to try, like I said, was a tie. Next up, we have David, and he created a Mexican elote. I love elote.
That's what I thought you was going to say that you wanted to try the most.
It was too many for me to pick this round, just to be honest. I had too many choices. That's hard for me when there's so many things that I like.
Corn.
Yeah, I really like corn. His actually was like second, I think, for presentation. For me, it was between him and Darren.
Yeah.
But Darren, I ended up picking him because he had like the nice dollop, the nice swoop for like the sauce and stuff like that. So he went the whole, I guess, way for like plating wise.
Yeah.
But his was my second favorite presentation. I wanted to try all of theirs. I really didn't want to pick this one because I did have a hard time picking between the three. I would love to try all of them. But the other two kind of really like. I think I eat a lot of elote, to be honest, which is why I probably picked the other two because those are like less common things for me.
This corn rib is definitely something I've never had.
I've never had a corn rib, which brings us to the next contestant. This was Greg. Next contestant is Greg. He made maple smoky corn rib sampler with buffalo cauliflower. So he kind of gave 2 item options, which both were good. The guest judge said that she loved the buffalo cauliflower and that it was very spicy, and that it's what she looks for in cauliflower wings that kind of give you the fried, chicken wing taste. She said that the dip, I think, was pretty good, but I think what Manit and Chef Manit and Tabitha had to say was they may not have had those 2 together. They weren't sure how those like kind of cohesively went with like game day food. Like cauliflower wings, yes, but they were kind of like, how do these things fit together? Manit said it was kind of giving more like almost like if I go to someone's house and it's like buffet style or
Yeah.
But he did say it was a sampler, so
It looked good.
Yeah, it looks good. I would have definitely tried his. We love a good cauliflower wing. Now, what's left is to talk about who went home. Unfortunately, Chef Greg did go home. I think they said that the combination that he did was maybe a little too much or too many too many options maybe. Or maybe would have stuck to one of the dishes. So maybe just the corn ribs or just the cauliflower wings or something like that, But they said that his items were delicious. It just, they weren't getting game day. So now we're on to round 2. Round 2, our next guest judge, he loved like game day hot dogs. Like he loved hot dogs, right? But the kicker was he doesn't like the actual hot dog portion of the hot dog. He likes the toppings, the condiments,
everything around it,
but the hot dog. So I was like, whoa, like that's very interesting because at this point I was like, I don't know what we're gonna get because you can't do like a veggie dog. So I was like, darn, what do you do? But he wanted a hot dog
and no beans.
Yes, he wanted a hot dog with no hot dog and no beans, and of course it has to be plant-based. So our first chef, David created a carrot dog with peppers, onions, and spicy mustard. So he made his own spicy mustard. And what I really liked was instead of fresh onions, he fried onions. So kind of like fried like shoestring onions. And, we love crunchy onions on top of things. So I really liked that he did that because we're not a fan of like raw onions. So I was like, ooh, I like that. And then he made his own spicy mustard with just like regular mustard with like some chipotle seasoning and some other things. And his looked really good. His was tied, I feel like, for best presentation for me. And he, as a lot of people know who follow Tabitha Brown and keep up with her, he did her famous like carrot dog method, which is using a carrot as the hot dog.
Yep. Boiling it or, getting a marinator, boiling it, and then popping it on like a griddle or grill to give it a little charred look to make it really kind of resemble a dog off of the grill.
And his looked really good. I think what Chef Manit said, or I think maybe Tabitha said, it maybe could have cooked it maybe a tad longer, possibly. But I think the guest judge said that he was very surprised and he really enjoyed the meal. He said that the carrot still tastes a little more like carrot than he may have originally intended or hoped for, but he said the flavors all together made a cohesive, like, great hot dog. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looked good. I just kind of got tickled when I was watching it because I'm like, I'm wondering what they're really going to do. I'm thinking they're going to, like, chop up some things and find a binder and stuff like that. They was like, nope, carrot, which, I mean, why not? Especially when, Tabitha is known for her own, like, makeup of it anyway. So it looked good.
Yeah, I would try it. I really liked his. His, I was just going to say, his got the one that I wanted to try.
Okay.
It was between his and the last one I'm going to discuss, which is Darren. We'll talk about why I said that. But either way, his did get the one I wanted to try.
Yeah.
Next was Justine, Chef Justine. She did a smoky portobello dog with onion corn relish. So hers was really pretty. Hers got best presentation for me.
I wanted to try that one out of all of them.
Oh, I'm not surprised because you really like mushroom.
Yeah.
And you don't mind corn on things.
Yeah, I really wanted to try that one.
Okay.
You know, because both of them, I mean, spoiler, like the second one is is a carrot dog as well. And so when she pulled out the mushroom, I was like, man, I ain't never heard of that. And how thick it was, the cuts of it. I was like, I would try that.
Yeah.
I would try that, yeah.
I would have tried it. Yes. I would. I wouldn't, kernel corn on things. That's the only thing with me. But I did like that she also did the fried onion on top. Hers was really beautiful, like to the eye, and like I did like the creativity with like the mushroom, using that instead of the carrot dog, because she was like, I knew y'all were gonna go for that, that's why I did the mushroom. And honestly, my first thought probably would have also been a carrot dog because, like I said, she's famous for the carrot dog. And what else do you use at that point? But she definitely, she was creative with using the portobello mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Chef Chohan did say that it gave it a nice meaty flavor. And, the way she was able to smoke it and, add the liquid smoke and the different seasoning and flavors in there, it really gave it a nice meaty flavor and texture.
Yeah.
Oh, only thing. She did, instead of using regular ketchup, she made her own, like tomato sauce, I believe.
Yeah.
And Chef Chohan said that it was kind of giving more like a chutney than a ketchup. And she said that, if she would have just used maybe regular ketchup in that instance, it would have gave them more of like a ballpark flavor that they were kind of hoping / going for.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it looked good. It made sense she went that route also, just because she said she doesn't like hot dogs. So,
Or doesn't eat hot dogs. Or both, maybe.
Yeah, I think she said she didn't like it at all. And also the funny thing is, like, Tabitha was like, I feel like if I'm eating this and when I want to congratulate the team, I go like. So it was kind of like a bougie dog she kind of made or whatever,
Congrats,
upscale dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. It definitely was giving fancy dog,
Yeah.
Or as the guest judge said, it was like what did he say, a fancy ball game or
yeah,
a upscale ball game, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Third contestant was Darren. He made a carrot dog with pineapple mango relish. So his was my second, that I would have possibly wanted to try, because he made a mango pineapple relish. So I really like fruit. I really like tropical flavors, tropical fruit, and I really like mango and pineapple. So when he said mango pineapple relish, I was like, ooh, I think I would want to try that. But the first one, I think, was just kind of calling out to me a little more. But I love his creativity of the mango pineapple relish. I will say, like, he was very smart throughout the episode. You could just tell how seasoned he was in developing his flavors.
Yeah.
And his creativity. So.
Yeah. Had a little hard time with it. It wasn't cooked through as much, and then he had to pop it in the microwave.
Yeah.
But
which the judges were very nervous about. They were nervous about it giving a rubbery taste or texture, but no one actually said that it gave a rubbery texture. When Chef Chohan bit into it, she showed the camera, and it looked a lot like a hot dog.
It was red.
Yeah, it looked a lot like a hot dog, literally. So what was your best presentation and favorite for this round?
Presentation would be the portobello.
Okay, yeah, that was really good. That was next for me, presentation-wise.
And then, like I said, I would want to try that first out of all of them. Just
Wait, I did give her best presentation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, but you said that's the one you want to try as well? Okay.
Yeah. So she got both from me.
Okay. Like I said, best presentation was her for me, and the one I wanted to try was David's. Unfortunately, Chef Justine did go home. I think the reason she went home was because her dog was a little more fancy, and it may not have given game day or ballpark, but more of kind of like an upscale hot dog. And I really think that's the only reason she went home, because they said that her flavors were great, her flavors were there, her flavors were developed. They were just a little fancier than what you may think for a hot dog. So if I'm gonna go home, I would enjoy going home on that note. Just, it was so good. it just didn't maybe fit with the theme as much. So it's a great compliment, honestly, that she went home, even though she had really great flavors, it was simply because it was almost too fancy. The contestants plating game in this episode was on point.
Yeah, it was pretty much even. I feel like the entire thing, even from the beginning of the show, was pretty much even.
It was. I had a hard time actually in each level picking best presentation and my favorite. I had a hard time in each round, and this has been I think the first time or the first episode where I was struggling with picking both categories in almost every single round. Well, not in every single round. Yeah. So that brings me to round 3. So round 3, Tabitha said that, when she thinks game day, she thinks chili. And I love chili. My family loves chili. I can chili it up, honey. But my family has always done chili with beans in it. So now that both judges are here, she wanted chili with no beans, no hot dogs, no fried foods, no breads, and of course plant-based.
And I ain't gonna lie, when she said chili, I'm like, okay, it's plant-based and you can't have beans.
Yeah.
I'm like
I said last time, I am a bean.
So
literally the chili I make is literally all beans.
It is.
Just about, yeah.
And it's really good. If you haven't checked it out, please make sure you go back and check out that recipe on her YouTube channel. If you don't remember what you're watching, it's Veg Me Please. Thank you. Anyway, like I was saying, I just couldn't imagine, what are you going to put together? So I think this round, I was the most impressed by the chefs, by what they did in a short amount of time for chili.
Definitely.
30 minutes? Nah.
Right. Yeah. So, chili with no beans. I was like, what are we going to get? I don't know. So, first up is Chef Darren. Chef Darren created a winter garden chili. So, when he started kind of developing his flavors, I was already like, okay, you can tell he be making chili. He know what he doing. But I was interested in seeing where it went because he didn't do any plant-based meat or meat substitute. He just did winter or garden vegetables.
Yeah.
He used vegetables that I wouldn't have necessarily thought to include in a chili. He used, I think it was it parsnip?
I think so. And then he used butternut squash.
Butternut squash, yes.
Yeah.
Which the judges were nervous because he got squash in a little later and they weren't sure. Yeah. And tomatoes weren't sure if it would cook down enough. But they all said that his chili was delicious. His plating also was very beautiful. Once again, like I said, it was hard for me to decide, honestly, which one. I was impressed that he was able to create a chili with, just as Tabitha said, whole foods that actually looked very appetizing and sounded delicious. I would have wanted, and the guest judge said that just smelling it and seeing it, he said his mouth was watering and he was just ready to try it. And he said it really reminded him of the chili that his mom would make for him. So
yeah, it was very hearty looking. The consistency that he was able to get that short amount of time or whatever, I was like, man, it's kind of funny thinking about how he's doing. He's literally just relaxed the whole time, So yeah, so trying wise, I know we haven't got to the second one. I want to try his more.
Okay. And Chef Chohan did say his was very hearty too. One thing that Tabitha and Chef Chohan did say was that since he did so much tomato and so much tomato paste and sauce, that actually kind of overpowered or muted some of his flavors and some of his seasonings. So that was one thing I think with his. So next up we had David's. So David did a koji bacon chili. So he used, of course, a veggie bacon. He cooked the veggie bacon. And then he did a meat substitute. He cooked it with some tomatoes and seasoned it with some liquid smoke and different things, which I was excited about his because I've had this conversation with Corrigan. It fascinates me that people literally grew up having meat chili, just meat chili. I don't think I recall ever having meat chili. Even when we ate meat, I I would say the main component was more so beans. Like you would have meat in it, but it wasn't like meat heavy. And then even when we transitioned to being plant-based or vegetarian, whatever you want to call it, we didn't really do meat crumbles like that in our chili. It was just beans. So I was like, okay, I was intrigued because I was like, I put his as the one I wanted to try because I'm just not familiar with the meat forward chili, and I'm interested. I may actually have to make one because I feel like I'm missing that experience of having like a meaty chili.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on is meaty chili. So I remember we had that conversation. I was like, yeah, like that's what I was used to. So,
I didn't hear anyone say anything about chili with no beans till I got to college. And I was like, what are you talking about? Chili with no beans? So, real quick question, and then we're gonna move on. So, when you have like meat chili, do you eat it like you would eat a regular bowl of chili, like with like crackers or something? Or do you only use it as a topping? Or do you just literally eat like with a spoon like meat chili? Like how do you eat that?
Yeah, I mean it's hearty. It has think of like the experience of like not as heavy meaty, but almost like a sloppy Joe consistency.
And you eat it with a spoon?
I mean, you put it on stuff. Like a Frito chili pie, chili dog.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, so for example, like if you want to just eat a bowl of chili, like with just a spoon.
Yeah.
You eat it like that.
Yeah.
Or you only top it on things.
I mean, you can. I didn't like eating it like that.
Like in a bowl?
Well, just by itself. I usually like to do like Frito chili pie or something like
That's
that.
what I was thinking. When I thought, like when I did think of meat chili or like just meat chili, I thought of solely like as a topping, not as like, I'm just going to have this bowl solely like just the bowl.
No,
with
like
maybe some crackers.
Like I think my dad, like when he would make it, it would be maybe one or two type of beans in it.
Okay.
And then it'll be balanced out with a meat, but it was definitely like a good even thing. It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Like the sloppy Joe is not as meaty as a sloppy Joe, but the consistency is what we're used to.
Okay.
And then one or two beans, like you will get okay, it's a bean or two in here, and then you got to, you know, the tomatoes and whatever else you put in it.
Okay. Well, I may make one. I may make one just for y'all and just for me, cause I'm intrigued. I'm curious. I want to know.
I'm gonna make one.
Oh.
I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna make a vegetarian. I'm gonna make a plant-based chili with a meat substance in it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. Either I'll do like, you know, a substitute, or I use like mushroom.
We can face off. We can do a meaty chili cook-off.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna do a meaty chili cook-off. The judges. Okay, so he got best presentation in this one for me because he did like a crema on top, I believe, a crema like drizzle, and I also believe Darren also did a lime crema.
He did.
But David did like a crema, and what else did he put on top?
Tortilla.
Oh yeah, he did a tortilla, which
really cool.
Yeah, which I liked that idea. I thought that was creative and it looked really good. So he got best presentation for me.
Yep.
And I did pick his as the one I want to try, like I said, because I'm just so intrigued by this idea of meat chili and eating it in a bowl.
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about the winner. Drum roll. Chef David. Fancy ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won that thing. I wasn't surprised. Like I'm pretty sure he was probably top, like almost every single round. It was really cool for him to say at the beginning he's not known for being a plant-based chef, but that just a challenge that he was willing to face coming into the competition. So he did it.
Yeah, I really did. I didn't know who was gonna win on this one either. I did feel like he and Chef Darren were like kind of neck and neck.
Yeah.
And I was a little nervous in this last one. Well, not nervous, but I was just like, I couldn't really call it. Because sometimes sometimes to use like, okay, this person, I feel like won, you know, for sure. But sometimes it's like, they were both great contestants. I really can't call it. Like they, you know, both of them could win and would be deserving. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that anyone's not deserving, but it was hard for me to pick one or the other. But I did feel like he was a really strong contestant, and I did love his reaction and seeing how emotional and happy he was at the end. So I always love seeing people who win, who need a win.
Yeah.
Real people, real life, real experiences. So it's good to see that humanity. You know,
real flavors.
Real flavors. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share, and stay a while. And until next time, bye.
Peace.